What's cracking, guys? JP here again, bringing you another update of my 20-gallon reef tank. So today what I'm gonna talk about is what my parameters are and how I recently keep my corals pretty healthy and very colorful, or it's looking more colorful than before. So the first thing is, I know there's a lot of people saying you gotta keep your salinity at 35 ppt, but if you look in the world, that's the average. There's everywhere in the world, there's a higher salinity, there's a lower salinity, and there's corals everywhere. Now, what I found out is so far this reef tank is running very good. The polyps are open very wide, they're extended, they're colorful. What I found out is if I run my tank in 36 ppt salinity, the tank is doing very well. If I run about 35, the corals are usually shrunk up. It's not as open. I don't know why. But at 36, I think I found a sweet spot for this tank. Now, it's kind of like the same salinity in the Red Sea. And as you can see in the Red Sea, where the corals are, there it is 36 or even higher. And everywhere in the world is about 35, 34. So, and if you can model your tank to like a Red Sea, you can kind of Google what the Red Sea coral reef looks like. It's very beautiful. And it's the same salt as the Red Sea salt, but I'm only using the instant ocean salt here, just a regular, because I am dosing the 2-part BRS 2-part down there. So that helps with the alkalinity and calcium. But overall, that's my salinity, what I found out in my tank. Now, I do not recommend you to change your salinity right away to 36. It might not work for you, it might work for you. So this is just my experience with my tank. So as you can see, this is about 6 p.m. and my lights usually go off at 6 p.m. So the corals are fully extended, super long, super happy. Not too extended. They retain their coloration. As you can see, even on the sides, this red Monty used to be right here in the middle. But guess what? It's even growing with 36 ppt salinity. My sunset Montipora is growing back. It's good. So yeah, that's what I found out for these corals, what they like for salinity. So another thing is I have been feeding more for this tank. Now there's a downside for feeding more. You gotta have a very good nutrient export. That means you gotta have either refugium or very good refugium. I am keeping it with my algae scrubber, my algae stick here, just a stick to scrub my algae. But I've been putting that on so that the algae, the Cheiromorpha, doesn't float. I'm not sure if it's a cyano algae or there's a lot of bubbles. I'm not sure, but so far it's working. I am removing about once a week now. I am feeding even more than before. Now the good side about feeding more, it's kind of like, so it gives your corals more nutrients to absorb, and that means more coloration without any vitamins or any extra supplement. That's why a lot of people have a lot of fish in a big tank and they feed a lot, and then they have a very good nutrient export. That means you have a very big protein skimmer, either refugium or doing a lot of water changes. So if you do start feeding more to give your corals more color, be prepared that if you don't have good nutrient export, be prepared to have a lot of algae issues. So that's just one of my tips. So far so good. I've been feeding this tank about 1 cube every 3 days of frozen cube. So just gives, I broadcast feed it, and most of the land to the corals or gets sucked up to the filter. So overall, that's my update, guys. If you have any comments or questions, just leave a comment. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the likes and comments. So adios. Thank you for watching. Happy reefing.